Well, good evening. They say to give is to bless. Tonight on Sunday Express, we're going to be looking at philanthropy and what it actually means to those who benefit from these acts of generosity. But then again, before we speak about what we're going to be focusing on in family matters, we just want to remind you that the government today, being the 13th of August 2023, believes that its interventions that it has put in place, including the implementation of the Finance Act 2023, they say it seems to be bearing fruit. But is it? Our feedback, we welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. But before we bring you up to speed with what has been making headlines in the last 12 hours, let's bring you the headlines. President William Ruto says the government's intervention aimed at reducing the cost of living have started to bear fruit. Cost of demos, Kenya to pay the Uganda business community 25 billion shillings. And sleepless nights for residents of Mbiri Ward in Manyara County as a notorious criminal gang goes on the rampage. Good evening, this is Sunday Express. I'm Regina, Manyara, and my sign language interpreter colleague is none other than Baron Abuli. Now, President William Ruto says the government's interventions aimed at reducing the cost of living have started to bear fruits. Speaking during a church service in Karen, Nairobi, the head of state indicated that the new saving culture through the enhanced contributions to the National Social Security Fund will reduce external borrowing by the government, which has been detrimental to the economy.
President William Ruto attended a church service at the Faith Evangelistic Ministry in Karen, Nairobi County. It is here he appraised the country on the state of economy and interventions his government has introduced to lower the high cost of living.
Why are you pushing this housing agenda? What is these houses? Who told you we need a house? We all have houses. What is this? Good people, I have said it before, I will say it again in church. It wasn't so much about the houses. It was so much about the jobs for the young people of Kenya. We have never had a comprehensive program, deliberate, intentional, to create opportunities for the young people of Kenya to have a job, to have an income.
The president noting the country had only saved 350 billion shillings in the last 60 years in the National Social Security Fund, and there was need to double the amount in the next 4 years. This, the president says, will reduce the country's external borrowing, which has crippled the economy.
Part of the challenge we have of borrowing is because we do not have savings. Therefore, we go to borrow from others who have saved. The money we saved in NSSF, and Raymond would know, is about 350 billion shillings in the last 60 years. But because of the new formula that we have agreed and we have begun implementing the last 4 months, we are going to double that money, the 350 billion. We are going to double that money in 4 short years.
The head of state spelled out plans to support agriculture, including availing affordable fertilizer and increasing the acreage under irrigation. A strategy, he says, will reduce importation of food.
And this year, our farmers have grown beyond what they did last year. 200,000 acres of land to produce food. We want to thank God for our farmers. We want to really thank God for our farmers. They are doing a phenomenal job, and we will support them.
Bishop Kiwashira, Sunday Express.
What is your take in regard to that matter? Our Twitter handle is open at KBC Channel 1. Now, taxpayers will part with about 25 billion shillings to compensate the Ugandan business community, which successfully sued the Kenyan government and the Kenyan courts for damages caused during the anti-government protests. This is according to Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who maintains that absolute denunciation of violence must form part of the bipartisan talks scheduled to commence Monday at the Bomas of Kenya. Musalia assuring Kenyans that the Kenya Kwanza Alliance is ready and willing to engage in dialogue with the opposition. Jefferson Minor reports.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi on Sunday weighed in on the bipartisan talks ahead of the first formal sitting on Monday at the Bomas of Kenya.
As one of the very clear resolutions that must come out of those talks is absolute denunciation of violence by any party in order to resolve political issues in our country.
During a fundraiser at St. Monica Catholic Church in Kajiado County, Musalia committed Kenya Kwanza's readiness to negotiate with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition.
The president himself had already sent a petition to the Speaker of the National Assembly to say that he would like that there be a formal office of the official opposition. Let us clean up the area around IBC.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary cautioning the opposition to condemn violent protests, which are costly to taxpayers, as evident by a recent ruling by the High Court of Kenya.
The judgment against the government of Kenya is a judgment, if you now include penalties and interest, of $185 million. In Kenyan shillings, at the exchange rate of 140 to the dollar, you are dealing with 25 billion Kenya shillings.
Noting that the country was not in any political crisis, Musalia said that talks must remain within the legal framework.
Kenya haiko kwa crisis. Ukitaka kuona crisis, enda Niger. Hapo ndio kuna crisis. Kenya has got a government. Kenya has got institutions. They are working.
Musalia implored Kenyans to offer President William Ruto's administration adequate time to revive the economy. Jefferson Minor, Sunday Express.
In physics, they used to say every action has a reaction. Well, 25 billion shillings there to part with as taxpayers owing to the anti-government protests there. Now, a section of leaders from Western Kenya allied to the Kenya Kwanza coalition have supported the ongoing bipartisan talks, terming them as crucial in ensuring peace in the country. Led by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, the leaders emphasized the need for a tranquil environment for national progress.
Speaking at a funds drive in Musoli, Kakamega County, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula said the bipartisan talks between the government and the opposition provide the peaceful environment that economic stability requires.
Na wazungu wanasema, if you don't get the one you love the one you have. Kura ilipoisha, tukaenda kotini. Koti ikaamua. Tumekuwa na taharuki, tukakuwa na maandamano, tukaharibu mali, tukapoteza maisha. Sasa ni kushukuru upande zote mbili. Bipartisan talks, tumeweka viongozi wakuja pamoja ili waangalie ni nini inakera siasa ya nchi yetu.
They hailed opposition leader Raila Odinga for halting the anti-government street protest and embracing dialogue. In Migori, Nyatike legislator Edick Anyanga also added his voice to the bipartisan talks debate, saying the agenda should not be about power sharing.
We cannot waste our time anymore. We cannot waste our time. Let us rally behind William Samoei Ruto and Dr. Rigathi Gachagua.
Even as the talks continue to elicit mixed reactions ahead of their commencement next week, religious leaders are calling on politicians from both coalitions to desist from sentiments that might lead to animosity.
Government, together with all the politicians, is that let this team that has been chosen to handle the issue, let that team be left to be independent, because in this country we need peace. In this country we need harmony. In this country, and that is the only way we can even build our economy.
We want to request that our leaders, both sides, to put aside their politics and then go on with the discussion. Let us reason together. No one knows everything, and all of us can assist to ensure that the country is stable, is peaceful, for we want the peace.
For Sunday Express, I'm Zainab Said.
And Monday, we are going to be keeping tabs on what is going to be happening at the Bomas of Kenya. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has defended security agencies against accusations by the opposition that the police have taken political sides. Kindiki says, contrary to claims, security agencies have been instructed to remain apolitical and to concentrate on their key mandate of protecting the lives and property of all Kenyans.
Speaking at the Abundant New Life Church in Nyeri, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki urged politicians to avoid violence and instead embark on dialogue. Kindiki warned that no one would be allowed to terrorize or blackmail Kenyans.
Hiyo mazungumzo isipofaulu, kusiwe mtu atatishia watu tena ati kwa sababu yale mazungumzo hatujazikizana ati sasa tunarudi kuumiza raia. So the people of Nyeri, the people of Kenya, the country is safe.
This even as he came to the defense of security officers, indicating that they are going to steer clear of politics and concentrate on their mandate.
Na Mheshimiwa Rais ametuamrisha tusitumie vyombo vya kiusalama na silaha na nguvu ambayo tuko nayo ya usalama wa taifa kuumiza wananchi wasio na hatia ama kukandamiza watu kwa njia za kisiasa.
Opposition leaders had criticized the Inspector General of Police over the handling of protests in the country.
Level of Inspector General ambaye anasema viongozi wanaweza kwenda na kurend mili, yani kununua mili kwa morgue. That is why I'm saying under Act Chapter 6 of the laws of the Constitution of Kenya, he completely falls short and he should resign.
The CS says violence should never be part of the question.
Haitawezekana tena katika taifa la Kenya. Mwanasiasa yeyote, haijalishi yako na nguvu kiasi gani, hawa upande wa upinzani, hawa upande wa serikali, hatutakubali mtu yeyote ya siasa tena kuharibu mali, kuumiza wananchi, kuleta vifo, akijizingizia yeye ati ni siasa anafanya.
The bipartisan talks between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja coalitions will start officially on Monday, August the 14th. Serafina Robi for Sunday Express.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the proposed reforms in the education sector will re-engineer the learning environment to meet emerging socio-economic development demands of the country. Speaking on Sunday in Nandi County, Gachagua said the reforms will refocus and retool graduates from job seekers to job creators.
Congratulations. The 41st graduation is also a time to celebrate the University of East African Marathon for the phenomenal socio-economic contribution it has made to the country and the continent since 1978.
Speaking at the 41st graduation of the University of Eastern Africa Marathon, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said the Kenya Kwanza administration will continue to invest in education with a view of improving education standards.
We are changing the model so that people, once you are given assistance, is full. Hakuna haja kusomesha mtoto umpatie bursary form 1, umwachilie form 2, hana then arudi nyumbani umeenda hasara. We have just refocused and changed the strategy of funding university education because there are many challenges.
While supporting the proposed new funding for university students, the DP said it was important to refocus the financial support for those in dire need of assistance to benefit. The Deputy President said it is evident in the 2023-2024 budget that the Kenya Kwanza administration is committed to the betterment of learners.
The Kenya Kwanza administration also acknowledges that quality education is possible with sufficient funding. This is to facilitate research and meet capacity needs of learning institutions. In our first budget of 2023-2024 financial year, we have allocated a record 628 billion Kenya shillings to the education sector. We are implementing and igniting a system that is skill-focused for development. We are no longer going to graduate people to learn on the job. We want finished products to support the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
The University Vice-Chancellor, Professor Philip Mayo, noted that youth need constructive mentorship to steer their careers.
Your success story speaks volume and is deserving of emulation by our young people. Our young people are so proud of you, and we are very grateful.
For Sunday Express, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
With that, we take a quick breather, but when you're back, we have a security update from Murang'a County and why actually iron sharpens iron. So do not go away. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for the biggest event of the year? The Council of Governors and its partners present the Devolution Conference 2023, happening from 15th to 19th August in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. The theme of the conference is 10 years of devolution, the present and the future, and the sub-theme, driving transformation from the local level, county governments at the center of economic development. Over the years, we've brought together local and international delegates to discuss best practices and strategies to foster improved service delivery in devolved sectors and further drive change in subnational governments. The sectors to be covered include healthcare, agriculture, trade development and industrialization, blue economy, natural resource management, affordable housing, the digital economy and integration of technology, youth empowerment and affirmative action, among others. Engage in thought-provoking discussions during breakout sessions addressing key challenges and emerging issues on devolution. Don't miss the prestigious Devolution Warrior Awards, honoring individuals and institutions that champion and defend devolution in Kenya. This event will be officially opened by His Excellency Dr. William Ruto on the 16th of August 2023. The conference will be live on KBC Channel 1. To participate, register today on conference.cog.go.ke.
Cheza Loto Moto. Sasa unaweza jishindia instantly na Loto Moto. Dial star 570 hash. Wakati wowote, siku yoyote ya wiki na mahali popote. Dial star 570 hash. Kisha chagua moja kati ya games za Loto Moto. Weka stakes zako 50 shillings, 300, 500, 2,000 shillings. The bigger your stake, the greater or the bigger your prizes. Cheza mara kadhaa na kumbuka, cheza responsibly. 18 years and above.
Cheza Loto Moto. His Excellency Governor Gideon Maitha Mungaru's dream for Kilifi County is to improve the county's economic status and enhance service delivery to the people of Kilifi. This is guided under the 6 key pillars of quality education, tourism and culture, commerce and industry, affordable housing and accessible healthcare, youth and women empowerment, and agriculture and water. Join Governor Gideon Mungaru as he expounds more on the developments he is spearheading in Kilifi County this Tuesday on the Good Morning Kenya show.
Good evening, this is Sunday Express. Residents of Mbiri Ward in Murang'a County are calling on security apparatus to expedite investigations and rescue them from the claws of a notorious criminal who has been terrorizing them for months. The locals decry the numerous attacks, including being robbed of their money, phones, and electronic appliances. Some have been left nursing injuries inflicted on them during the robberies.
A notorious criminal has been causing residents of Mbiri ward in Murang'a County sleepless nights. For months now, they live in constant fear. Mercy Modoni, a businesswoman from Mudigiriri area, is one such victim. She narrates how the thug not only took off with her savings amounting to 50,000 Kenyan shillings, but also physically attacked her family, leaving her teenage son with severe cuts.
Itisha pesa, simu, tukampea. Immediately wakati aliona nimempea pesa, alitoka tu. Ilikuwa over 50k.
Fuata pali nilikuwa nimeketi, akakuja akanigoga na shoka ya kichwa. Kutoka hapo nikasikia nimekosa nguvu, nikasikia kizuguzugu. Pali nilikuwa nimeketi, akakuwa amepewa pesa kwa sababu walipoona nimegogwa, walipeana hata ile pesa walikuwa nayo.
The man, who is described as physically intimidating, has equally made similar attempts at a neighboring Kamairo village, where Mwangi Kamau, a lawyer, faced a similar predicament after being sprayed on the face with petrol.
Mmoja ambaye alikuwa amebaki hapa na aligonga hii kioo. Hii amebaki anaigonga na shoka. Na mimi kwa bahati mzuri nilikuwa nimekaa hapa. Sasa mimi sikutoroka. Nikamwambia ndugu yangu, kunja sasa tuonane wanaume. Mimi kwa wewe. Alikuwa na chupa hii ya maji ametomboa mashimo kidogo pale mbele. Anamwaga petroli, mimi namwaga maji. Akimwaga, mimi natupa maji.
Residents further lamenting the suspect, who they say goes by the nickname Murang'a Axeman, is still at large even after filing numerous reports to the police. A number of residents are said to have vacated their homes out of fear.
Mtu mmoja mkora anasumbua sisi hapa, na hapo ndio tunaomba serikali iingilie kati, itafute huyo mtu, mtu anajulikana na kwenye anaishi huko Majoice watu wanajua. Sasa ile kitu sisi tunaomba ni serikali ifuatilie, sababu hiyo kitu yote imeaffect hata kazi yetu.
Doreen Arange for Sunday Express.
I'm sure one man cannot be such a challenge or such a menace, and that the relevant authorities have gotten wind of that particular report. Now, the government has begun the installation of free public Wi-Fi at the newly launched multi-million Githurai market in Kiambu County. This is the first of a planned rollout in 25,000 markets, including a populous rural market. The move will see traders leverage on internet connectivity to boost business.
Kuinua biashara, sababu wale wananchi ambao wako sehemu zingine za nchi wataweza kupata access ya zile bidhaa zinauzwa kwa hili soko, na kwa hivyo wataweza kukuza mazao yao ya kibiashara kupitia huu mtandao.
Forging is a manufacturing process involving the shaping of metal through hammering, pressing, or rolling. Though the process has undergone numerous technological advancements in recent years, some ironsmiths like George or Cindy are still holding on to the traditional methods. Edward Kabasa spent time with the craftsman and sought to find out how he manages to remain relevant in a fast-paced industry.
It's early Wednesday in Pala Market in Karachuonyo constituency, and George Osende is already hammering away. This father of 7 is one among the few remaining blacksmiths still forging iron in Homa Bay County.
This job is not fit for alcoholics. Second, it needs a dedicated and honest person. That's how you keep customers coming. Otherwise, they won't come.
For more than 3 decades, George Orosende, as he is commonly referred to here, has been the savior of many farmers through this centuries-old craft.
Whenever he fixes my plow, it works even better than a tractor. All I need are bulls to pull the plow.
George repairs ox plows, hoes, axes, and other farm tools and equipment.
He knows how to forge farm hoes. I have been bringing him a digging bar to forge since the 1980s.
Forging is a manufacturing process involving the shaping of metal through hammering, pressing, or rolling. Despite technological advancements in the trade, George says he has learned to forge his own path and remain relevant in the fast-paced industry.
I am in no direct competition with the welders because they do not have the skill to repair such equipment. They can only fix a broken iron by welding it. They have no knowledge on servicing the plows. They always bring them back to me.
George uses a bicycle system to manually propel a fan, which then blows air into the burning charcoal to heat the metal and soften it to make it easier to forge.
It's almost impossible to forge cold iron, however small it is. But when you heat it in fire, it only needs a little effort to forge. We love him for his honesty and professionalism because he always delivers on his promises.
George says he has used this skill handed down by his father to educate all his children, though none of them is keen on this labor-intensive career. Similarly, George says that not a single young man or woman has approached him with a desire to learn how to forge iron.
The young folk believe this is a difficult job, so they keep away. They dread hard work.
George says he's not bothered by the idea that he may be the last ironsmith in his lineage, but it would be an honor to hand it down to someone, even if it's not in the family. He says he intends to work these metals until there's no more strength left in him. For Sunday Express, I am Edward Kabasa.
Sasa unaweza jishindia instantly na Loto Moto. Dial star 570 hash. Wakati wowote, siku yoyote ya wiki na mahali popote. Dial star 570 hash. Kisha chagua moja kati ya games za Loto Moto. Weka stakes zako 50 shillings, 300, 500, 2,000 shillings. The bigger your stake, the greater or the bigger your prizes. Cheza mara kadhaa na kumbuka, cheza responsibly. 18 years and above.
Cheza Loto Moto. There are times when reason becomes unclear in the heart. Isabel Montalban will now convert paradise into a land of the wild. She knows her heart is true to one of the Oteros, but is not quite sure who of the three it is. In these wild lands, it is the rule of heart that is supreme. In wild lands.
You're still watching Sunday Express. I'm Regina Manyara, and in not too long, we're going to be having a candid conversation in regard to philanthropy and how this actually benefits those who need in society. And my guest will be none other than a budding politician, that is Nora Busibori, who's going to tell her what was her driving force and what challenges she encounters therein. But before that, women in Samburu County are reaping the benefits of an alternative source of income thanks to an empowerment program that has introduced them to kitchen gardens. The program has seen women also benefiting from a constant supply of fresh vegetables for their own consumption.
Samburu County women are busy in their farms watering their crops. Vertical kitchen gardens are now a source of livelihood, in addition to guaranteeing a balanced diet for their families. All this courtesy of the Samburu Women Empowerment Program and of VC Farms.
Inawasaidia tena kwa hata at least ka profit kidogo, mtu anaweza kununua sukari ama kachumvi hivi. At least itatusaidia sisi tukimu mahitaji ya mboga nyumbani kama wamama, na tumefurahi kama wamama walemavu kujiunga na wao.
Hali ya malnutrition iko juu sana. Sasa tunajaribu tuwasaidie venye watapata pesa mkononi na pia watasaidika kiafya.
Thanks to this initiative, the women no longer have to walk long distances in search of trees to cut for firewood or charcoal.
So going forward, we expect these women to engage themselves on other alternative sources of income.
Sasa mama wengi wako na biashara yao kufanya ndogo ndogo. Anatusaidia kukula hata na kupata sabuni na kupata karo ya mtoto ya shule.
With plans to replicate the empowerment programs in other communities, the small spaces in the homestead of these Samburu women continue to fill food baskets and generate an income. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Cancer is the third highest cause of death in Kenya, and often those who suffer from it cannot afford treatment, making them vulnerable to the disease. However, with help from well-wishers, many are able to undergo treatment and eventually emerge as survivors to the disease.
We meet a 53-year-old woman in Nyahururu town in Laikipia County who is seeking financial assistance to cater for the medical treatment of her daughter.
Wakati anaumwa, hichi kitu kinafula kimefika hapa. Ananiambia mami, mimi nitoe hii kitu. Sasa hiyo ni saa 7 ya usiku, hatuna pesa, hatujui tutaenda wapi.
Mary Warogoro is seeking to raise 6.5 million shillings to cover the cost of a bone marrow transplant in India for her daughter Jennifer Wanjiru, who was diagnosed with blood cancer.
Hatuna dawa ya kutoka tuende hospitali aende akafanywa chemo. Shiro nilikuwa naona nikitoka tu nitakuta amekufa.
Financial constraints, however, have caused Jennifer to stay at home for 6 months without any treatment.
I was like requesting and pleading to Kenyans, to people to help me because I need a medical appeal. I need a medical treatment to pay this bill. I am a mother. I'm a single mom. I have a 2-year-old son.
Contributions can be sent via M-Pesa to 0701 262053 or 0708 639478 or through the pay bill number 8053161. Meanwhile, in Nairobi, a 34-year-old woman is also seeking financial assistance from well-wishers to cater for her medical treatment. Mercy Wamboi was in good health until in 2018 when she noticed a lump at her breast but ignored it.
Sometimes 2 years ago, the lump started developing or growing. Then I would feel several lumps, very small, you can't even notice them. So I kept on saying I'll go to the hospital, but then by that time, because I had fear of what if it's cancer, I was afraid.
2 years later, the lump started growing larger, and it is then when she decided to seek medication and was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer.
When I went for biopsy, I was told to wait for 2 weeks for the results that were taken by Aga Khan Hospital, and then now after the results, a month ago is when the results, I received the results, and I was told that I had cancer. Breast cancer.
The mother of one, however, is seeking to raise 3 million shillings to undergo treatment in India.
Kenyans have been so supportive. We've been able to raise 1 million so far as of yesterday on Saturday. You know, I'm positive that once I start medication, it shall be well.
Contributions can be sent to pay bill number 522522, account number 9119111. Jacqueline Mashara for Sunday Express.
Further details available on our website. Now to the counties where the Ilchamus community living in Baringo County is pushing to have their own constituency to address what they termed as marginalization. Elsewhere, a section of residents in Embu Town have decried the non-registration of a school 5 years after its construction. Details of this in our county's news roundup.
The Ilchamus community residing in Baringo want next year's boundary delimitation exercise to allocate them a constituency, saying challenges they face as a community have gone unattended to for so long.
Sisi kama community tumelia sana. Kwamba katika Baringo hii, sisi ndio hatuna constituency yetu ya Ilchamus. Na wakati tutakapoenda hii maombi ya 2024 ya delimitation of boundaries. Nyinyi kama Maasai na Samburu ambaye mko hapa.
In Embu Town, the non-registration of Dallas Primary School, 5 years after its construction, is causing concern to those neighboring it. They say what would have saved their children from trekking to schools far away has instead turned into a den of crime for lack of use.
Shule hii sasa imekuwa ni shule ambayo inatumiwa na vijana ambao ni criminals, wavuta bangi, na pia waizi sasa wamekuwa ndio sehemu yao ya kujificha.
Still on education, parents and guardians have been urged to help curb early pregnancies. Matuga MP Kasim Tandaza said such cases tend to spike during school holidays.
Wasichana wetu, watoto wetu wanatoka mbalimbali, sio kama vile mjini ambao shule ziko karibu. Wengine wanabidi watembee kilomita mpaka 7-8 kufika hapa. Na unajua wasichana wana changamoto sana. Wavulana pia wako nazo changamoto, lakini wasichana changamoto zao ni za zaidi.
And residents of Malindi in Kilifi County have been urged to safeguard the environment to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change during the 59th cleaning exercise organized by the Progress Welfare Association of Malindi. The county's First Lady Susanna Mungaro encouraged residents to reduce waste and promote recycling of products.
A clean and well-maintained environment speaks volumes about our values, our sense of responsibility, and our commitment to the well-being of every single resident. It reflects our love for the stunning natural beauty that surrounds us and our desire to preserve it for generations to come.
She hasn't just taken this title, she's absolutely obliterated the whole field. 3:52.96.
It's a big stage, big names and big expectations. An immersive celebration of athleticism. More than 2,000 athletes from over 200 countries will compete in 49 events, drawing inspiration from past memorable outings. Team Kenya is looking ahead for a remarkable feat in the forthcoming World Athletics Championship in Budapest, Hungary, in Central Europe. Witness the wonders from Budapest, Hungary on 19th through to the 27th of August, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
You may want us to bring you up to speed with the game that was just completed between Chelsea. But before we speak about the English Premier League that is back, let's bring you up to speed with what has been happening in the local sports scene, where Kenya Women Premier League champions Vihiga Queens started their CAF Women's Champions League Sakafa qualifiers with a resounding 3-1 victory against New Generation FC of Zanzibar in their Group B match played at Philip Omondi Stadium in Lugogo, Kampala, Uganda.
Know their intentions.
New Generation FC scored fast in the 25th minute.
And buries the ball in the back of the net. Something to celebrate, and you can see what it means for the technical team.
But Vihiga equalized in the 37th minute through Winnie Babie carved effort.
Winnie sends the ball in, and a drop ball in the back of the net. New Generations celebrations as well will continue.
Centre-back Ruth Kasoho extended Vihiga's lead after doubling the scores in the 59th minute.
Drop ball coming in the area, and it eludes the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Oka claims that goal.
Martha Amunyolet slotted home the third through a penalty awarded after Anita Namata was fouled in the box to seal the wins for the 2021 regional winners.
Amunyolet with the chance to bury that ball in the back of the net. Well, we might be seeing something more here.
Vihiga Queens will face AS Kigali in their second pool match on Wednesday before winding up their Group B campaign against JKT. The overall winner will represent CECAFA at this year's CAF Women's Championship League finals due in November in Ivory Coast. For Sunday Express, I'm Sila Unyango.
Now, KCB RFC won the Christie Sevens rugby tournament after beating Strathmore Leos 17-12 in the final, played Sunday at the RFUA grounds in Nairobi. This was KCB's first Christie Sevens title since 2019, while Strathmore Leos went into the final as the defending champions. Leos got off on a bright start, scoring the first and converted try through Gabriel Ayimbe, who went over the whitewash after the scramble in KCB's box. Now KCB leveled the scores through the outstanding Brian Wahinya, who also successfully converted it to a hand. Now KCB 7-5 lead. The Bankers went into the break with 17-5 lead after Festus Safari Sihashi touchdown for the second try. Kenya Sevens international Vincent Onyala wrapped up the scoring for the Bankers after a restart to stretch the lead, and despite Strathmore Leo's late charge following Miguel Azminez's converted try, KCB held on to a claim of 17-12 win. And in an earlier third-place playoff series, leaders Cabras beat Nakuru 19-12, while Impala won the latest title after seeing off Mwamba 26-7. Cabras leads the log on 80 points, while KCB plays second, 2 points adrift. The six-legged series now threads to Eldoret for the fifth round of the scheduled September 2nd to 3rd, actually. Now, away from matches rugby, we get into soccer, where John Osogo Secondary School from Budalangi defeated Teens of Hope FC from Nambale 1-0 to win the men's Chapa Dimba in Safaricom title in Busia County finals. Meanwhile, Kingadole Queens humbled Ochokoi Queens 4-1 to bag the women's title.
John Osongo Secondary School from Budalangi and Teens of Hope FC from Nambale treated fans to a thrilling football match in the Safaricom Chapadimba Busia County finals held at Otimong Primary Grounds in Nambale constituency. An early goal from Evans Siande in the 31st minute ensured John Osongo bagged the men's title. Meanwhile, Kinangole Queens humbled rivals Chakol Queens 4-1 to bag the women's title. Maximila Apio of Chakol scored the first goal in the first minute of the match. However, Fozi Achieng leveled the score for Kinangole Queens in the second minute. Sharon Akumu managed to break Kinandole's defense, scoring Chakol's Queen's second goal. Abigail Ilokora and Liliana Chom extended Chakol's dominance by scoring the 25th and the 42nd minute respectively. The winning teams were awarded 75,000 Kenya shillings cash prize, with the runners-up Kinandoli and Teens of Hope pocketing 30,000 shillings each. Following the win, the two teams secured slot in the Western Region Finals to be held in Bukungu Stadium on 26th and 27th August. For Sunday Express, I'm Sila Onyango.
Now, Tottenham Hotspur started their 2023-2024 English Premier League champion with a 2-2 draw against Brentford. Spurs have now failed to win their 3 visits to the Getch Community Stadium. Now, Argentina defender Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I know those who have been eagerly anticipating for the resumption of the Premier League. Well, it's back, and today we also had Chelsea square it out with Liverpool FC. Those that do not walk alone, or what if you like, the club team, that this ended on a 1-1 draw. Further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now, that sets the ball rolling for our conversation tonight. When we say give is actually blessing, joining us tonight is none other than Nora Busibori, who is a budding politician but also a philanthropist. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Regina.
So what was your driving force to just think that you need to target the needy in society?
Well, first of all, it's my background. You know, having grown in the ghetto, I understand the challenges that our mothers, our fathers, and our sisters face in the ghetto. So therefore, ours is to ease these challenges and offer relief. Yes.
So your upbringing actually has drawn you to philanthropy. Maybe you can let us understand what your foundation actually deals in.
Oh, well, so my background really, my educational background is in cybersecurity. I have a PhD in cybersecurity, a master's in cybersecurity and digital forensics, and a bachelor's in IT. So I've grown within the corporate ladder, but then today I'm just here to concentrate on the foundation, which is the Nora Bosibori Foundation. Our foundation is primarily geared towards helping our people improve livelihoods. This is therefore by providing educational, mentorship, and empowerment programs to people living in informal settlements.
Government over the years, and not just now, has been rolling out various series of programs. We have the Wezo Fund that is targeting women and youth for financial, capacity building. We also have the Inua Jamii that is looking at the elderly. From where you sit in as far as you set up a foundation to look at, needs that are tailor-made to those who are, are needed in society, do you think that these particular programs are meeting the objectives?
They are meeting the objectives. Because sometimes, we are in economy that is growing. We are still growing, we are young, and the government cannot be able to take care of everybody. So that means that the gap left has to be filled. And the people who have to fill it, it's us, the people who've grown in the ghetto, the people who understand these challenges. Therefore, if we help and come up with opportunities for the people, the government can be able to understand where to come from, where to start from. So, for example, we have several interventions in the ground, which includes transport relief for people. You realize that most of the people living in settlements that are informal actually are living from hand to mouth. All right? So therefore, they lack even basic money to use for transport. Okay? So then, the government does not understand these challenges. That is why we're seeing even fuel prices skyrocketing, because the government does not understand the direct impact such things have for the people at the lowest level. So if we come up with these interventions and bring them to the fore, then the government and the leadership is able to see what challenges we are going through and probably join us in creating reliefs for our people.
Looking at some of the programs that your foundation is currently targeting at, you're looking at correcting period poverty. We've seen a lot of legislation that has come up to ensure that, a certain budgetary allocation is assigned to public primary schools as well as secondary schools. It's around 470 million shillings. But this is not enough. In your capacity, what are you doing to actually build capacity within these particular institutions in regard to that matter?
First of all, you understand the whole issue of KBC, which is trying to bridge the educational inequalities. But then, of course, in its infancy, it has a lot of challenges, So, therefore, for us is to provide with the government interventions that can be put in place so that these solutions can be scaled throughout. So challenges like kids not being able to afford materials and resources can be alleviated, But then that cannot be done in this economy. We are suffering, the people are suffering, children are not able to get resources required for this kind of setup.
But then the question is, as you're running a foundation, there's been a lot of talk when you look at foundations, they always rely on external source of funding. Would you tell us the Nora Bosibori Foundation, what is your banking? Who is bankrolling, Nora?
Nora Bosibori is entirely my own effort. And as I explained earlier, I'm in the corporate world, all right? I'm a cybersecurity consultant. So most of the projects are CSR based, okay? So because we understand the challenges our people face. So we did not have to wait for people to come on board and support us. We show them the way, Whoever wants to come to support, they will come to support. But then with whatever small resources we have, we are channeling them to these particular interventions.
Now, as a foundation, what would you term as your main challenge, in meeting your objectives?
Of course, funding, number one, because now most of what we do is coming from our own pockets through the company that I run, the consultancy. But then with time, we'll be able to see if we can partner with other people, with other organizations, to be able now to have a better feel of what needs to be done.
I also understand from your profile is that you're a budding politician. I would ask you a straightforward question. Do you think that the future of politics and governance within the country is female?
The future is female all over.
Okay.
The future is female, and I'm glad that quite a number of young female politicians are coming through. They're showing a solidarity with our people, and they're ready to get into the murky waters of
I like
politics.
that you put it murky waters of politics. As a young person, you fall into the demographic that has over the years been, told you the leaders of tomorrow, but it has never happened that you're the leaders of now. So what are you doing to ensure that, you get into elective politics?
Tomorrow can never come. Our tomorrow is now, That's purely cliche. If you want to change tomorrow, you change today so that you can then eat the benefits thereafter. So I'm urging all the young people all over the country, all over Africa, to come through. Get into it. You understand? Because we have to disrupt. The problem with a lot of the older generations is that they want to maintain the status quo. All right? So that means then they have accumulated a lot of primitive wealth, getting now the youth completely off the shadows. So what I'm going to tell people is that let's do it. A step at a time. You don't need anybody, you don't need any support, it just needs the willpower.
One would want to be a devil's advocate, and I'd want to play that role at this point, but we say that running a successful political campaign actually requires deep pockets, but we're not here to talk about matters of politics. Maybe in the next few years we'll be having this conversation again. I want to redirect this conversation back to the issue of philanthropy. You've said that the policies are there, but in as much as they're meeting their objectives, there are a few missing links. If you're given a position right now to actually change matters of social security when it comes to vulnerable people, the youth, persons with disabilities, as well as women, what would you do?
Thank you. First of all, there is huge goodwill from the government. Look, let's take one state department, for example, the State Department for Crop Development. Do you know the agencies under the State Department of Crop Development? We have AFA, Agricultural and Food Authority. Under it, we still have the Kenya Seed Company. We have AFC, Agricultural Finance Corporation. We even have a research institute by the name of KARI, Kenya Agricultural Research Institute. Imagine with all these agencies, with a proper budget, we still have never achieved food security. Don't you think it's a joke? Really? That at this time and age, with the different budgets that we align and to support agriculture, we're still not able to afford food for our people, number one. Number two, with all these agencies in place, we cannot even dry our grains, because of the high moisture content with our climatic conditions. You understand that maize goes bad quickly. We have never come up with a technology that can be able to dry and store this maize. Yet we have tens of agencies under the State Department of Crop Development. So my point is that there is goodwill. There is a budget. Kenya does not lack money. What we lack is the proper expertise and the goodwill from the people who run these offices.
Now, when you're talking about social security, what I'm talking about is we've had projects before. Inua Jamii being one of them, where a stipend was actually, to be delivered to a certain demographic, the old people, to help them go by, take care of themselves at least for a month. We also have the Wezo Fund targeting women and children and such. So from where you sit, you have a foundation that is looking at the needs of this particular special people, I would say in society, the PWDs, the children and such. So if you're given an opportunity to correct this anomaly in regard to the needy people in society, what would be your key priority?
My key priority is definitely accountability and integrity, because we have a lot of interventions for our people. We have a lot of agencies being run so that we support our people socially and economically. But then the entire issue that we are dealing with at this moment is lack of integrity from the leadership, lack of accountability. All right? So then we have to streamline the agencies that support this kind of interventions. We have to bring on board the anti-corruption mechanism to see that all these interventions put in place are actually helping people that are supposed to be helped. Yeah. So my basic approach, first of all, is accountability and integrity, so that we are able to know exactly who we are helping and the beneficiaries actually get to benefit from such interventions.
5 years from now, that's technically going to be 2028. What vision do you have for the, Nora Busibori Foundation?
I would hope that Nora Busibori Foundation is going to grow bigger and be able to sort specific need in the ground. You know, there is a lot of things around urban poverty. I would like that we can end urban poverty. We can end policies that perpetuate urban poverty. We can be able to invigorate the economy so that people can look for spaces and opportunities out of Nairobi. That is the only way that we are going to end this perennial issue of perpetuating urban poverty. So mine is to now come through for our people, come up with a manifesto that revolves around leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And of course, using the digital space to be able to expand to different horizons than depending on the traditional methods of earning.
Talking about traditional methods of earning, they say that if you feed a hungry person today but do not create an avenue for them to generate their own source of money for tomorrow, that exercise is in futility. What do you have to say in regard to that matter?
Of course, it's all over. Religion quotes it very well, that give a person a rod to fish, not the fish itself. So the point is that if we can be able to help our people, if we can create mechanisms for job creation and employment, then our people can now, through their individual efforts, be able to scale themselves and be able to be self-sufficient. But then with the kind of economy that we're in, we are all hopeless, because it's an economy that is not giving. It is an economy that is not feeding its people. So then people now resort to living hopelessly in the ghetto, and not living for anything.
Well, the government might have a differing opinion there, where they're saying that the interventions that they have laid on ground are actually bearing fruits. A conversation for another day. So tonight we have been talking about philanthropy and the role that it plays within the society, targeting persons with special needs. We're talking about persons with disabilities. We're talking about youth and children who find themselves in maybe single parent homes and such, as well as the elderly. And our guest has been none other than a budding politician and definitely a philanthropist in the making, so to speak. That is none other than the founder of the Busibori Foundation, Busibori herself. And lessons learned is that philanthropy should be sustainable for sufficiency. Instead of giving them the fish, kindly give them the fishing rod for sustainability. You've been watching Sunday Express on KBC Channel 1. I'm Regina Manyara. I do invite you to our website to peruse what has been making headlines in the last 12 hours. Have a pleasant evening ahead.
ready for the biggest event of the year. The Council of Governors and its partners present the Devolution Conference 2023, happening from 15th to 19th August in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. The theme of the conference is 10 Years of Devolution. The present